Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Wednesday, October the 24th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. I'm thinking maybe I should put this up top. Anyway, worst trading advice. What is the worst trading advice you've received? When I think back over the decades of my trading career, I would say the worst trading advice is trying to figure out what's hot. Trying to pick the hot stocks, trying to pick, you know, just trying to pick as opposed to picking one pair or one stock and just trading the heck out of it. I mean, once I did that, that's when that helped my turn my trading around because back in the day I was always trying to find that one hot stock. But there was one trader. He was actually one of the guys that would try and find hot stocks, but he also would trade a particular stock over and over. Even though he would then wander off, try and find the hot one. But he used to have this one trade where he would buy the stock near the end of the day and then turn around the next day and sell it, for just a tiny profit. But at the time, the stock was only trading for around $1. It maybe would go down to 95 cents and it would go up to maybe $1.10, but it would do it every day. And so he would buy it pretty much for $1 and try and sell it the next day for $1.05 or $1.10. Well, he was making 5 or 10% on his money, a little less after commission, but I think you get the idea. He was able to grind out huge profits. I mean, the volume was millions of shares a day, so it was no problem him, liquidating, 10 or 20 or 50,000 shares. It was just a drop in the bucket. So, worst trading advice is trying to find that hot stock of the day, of the hour, or whatever you're trading. Just pick one thing and just trade the heck out of it. And then if something changes, you have to keep track of the statistics. And just like when I switch from dollar yen to euro yen because the dollar yen's volatility just started to drop off. I run those frequency distributions and I could see this cow is running out of milk. I need to find a new cow rather than, flip back and forth. So let us continue. Now, this is one thing that you definitely don't want to flip back and forth with is your money management. No, you want that to be consistent every day, every trade. Same thing. Okay. Looking at the euro yen, you can see here we're only 17 pips off the bottom, pushing into that lower previous month's wick zone. And on the weekly, we went right through the lower wick zone, even though it's huge. You can see here we're 18 pips off the bottom, 9 pips off the low. So there was 27 pips to be gained if you nailed that trade at that low. And on the gaps, you see we still have the Aussie franc. Still hasn't filled the gap, but the rest have. On the daily, once again, we popped through the lower wick zone from the previous day and look at the size of that wick. And you can see here that there was about 18 pips or so, maybe 16 pips to be had, on that low, 16 pips off that low. So there was profit. Now, if you look here at the range, you can see there's a lot of movement here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pairs have moved more than 100 pips in range. That's high to low for the day or low to high, but that was the range, the difference between the daily high and the daily low. Now, If you notice, if you look at these pairs, obviously something's going on with Canadian because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the pairs that have Canadian in it are over 100, and there's a couple here, 90, 90. So something's going on with dollar Canadian. I don't know what, but probably has to do with oil. And you can see right here the buy zone, something we do on a daily basis. Right here, there was a short trigger, and it probably right here could have paid off, or you scratched that trade. Then you had a long trigger, it pulled back. Maybe you wound up losing, but here, if you jump back in, there was a winner. Right here, there was another trigger long, but you see here, prices, lower, lower, lower. So that was just, going to get some more of the sellers right there. But if you entered, you probably got stopped out. But then again, that short paid off. Rat zone traders, you got a live rat zone right here, right now, Larry live trade, as opposed to Harry's hindsight. So you got a long trigger here, 128.25. And you can see here we took out that pivot. Once again, we took out the pivot. So which is the next pivot to be taken out? 127.30 or 129.56. Price action. 2 ball, red at the line. 3 ball, looking for green at the line. And we're coming up. We're right here at the top of the hour. We're pretty close to the top of the hour. So we'd look for a long trigger at 128.30. We had a long trigger at 128.25 on the rat zone. So you can see how these things start to stack up. Once again, price action, trading with candle color at the horizontal lines from the previous day's high, open, close, midpoint, and low. Wick zone, huge wick zone, but still, it once again, price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. Usually leaves 70% of the time or better. Very profitable trade. There's an exit there, and we have an exit of the zone there. Both times, taking that trade would have resulted in a profit had you taken your money off the table. Lowest open setup right here. We got a trigger at 128.22. So we got triggers at 22, 25, and 30. So right now, it's saying there's a possibility to go long. You see this gap right here? Remember, price doesn't like gaps. So there's your heads up. You can see here we had a long trigger. It looks like 19. On the inventory reduction bars, we've got another trigger, long trigger at 44. You can see here the short trigger paid off. The long trigger was just a couple of pips or a scratch, or you would have stopped out at that line. Previous daily, weekly, monthly, open, high, and low. Once again, one of my favorites right here. Short, couple of shorts, took some heat, paid off, exit, looking to go long now. We've got a long trigger here at 31. So once again, we've got a bunch of triggers between 31 and 22 on the euro yen. So that's an area to get long in. You can see here, we're just kind of moving back and forth, just oscillating, about 3 pips worth of oscillation. Nothing to get excited about. And you can see here, I didn't refresh the Einstein line, and here's what happened yesterday. There's that trigger. you would have been on the right side going short of that big drop. So once again, simple pays off. Let's see. I don't remember seeing any questions. I will, actually, I think I answered the questions I did see. I did answer in the comments. Down here, you're supposed to subscribe and click the bell, get the announcements, and, post your questions here on the videos or on the Facebook group or wherever else you see me post, where the Forex Pirates hang out. You guys should know that by now, right? Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps up today. Whoa, why did that happen? Technical difficulties. So, worst trading advice, trying to find what I used to call the stock de jour, stock of the day, that hot stock. Don't chase stocks. That's just, to me, that's the worst trading advice. I like to know what you think the worst trading advice is, because remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So let us go drain the banks.